Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Sunday Brunch. Today, we are celebrating the Pride for Jersey City. We are in the community of Hudson County, so we thought that it would be a nice idea for us to give back and share some of our thoughts, and also viewing of the Devotion Project, and I'll go into that a little bit more. First, I would like to introduce Anthony Sirito. As you know, Anthony has been the co-host on Sunday Brunch for the past 6 months or so. It seems like it's longer than
wow. Is that how long we've been doing it? 6 months?
6 months about, yeah. I have to put down the numbers. And then I have our special guest. You met them before. I have Audrey and Audrey Smaltz. I'm pronouncing it right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Smaltz. Yes. And I have Gail Marquis, correct?
Correct, that's right.
Hey, all right.
Thank you.
It's good to pronounce it right, but I know some people probably spell it with an E on the end or something like that, correct? Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Today, Anthony is going to talk about how to jar your sauces, especially if you want to make sauce for pasta sauces, in which we use tomatoes. It's a very interesting subject, and I'm sure a lot of people would learn a lot from it and learn how to do it correctly, which is very, very, very important. Actually, I had an idea watching YouTube, but I had to call up Anthony one day and say, Anthony, help. And it took a couple of tries to do this, but I finally got it. And the Devotion Project, going back there. Gail, I would like for you to start off and tell us a little bit about the gay community in New Jersey. As I can say, LGBTQ plus, as we were discussing earlier, because there's so many, letters added onto it. Tell us about your experience here in New Jersey with it.
Well, I live in New Jersey. I guess my experience has been positive. I have friends across the state, up and down, all different types of counties, but it has been a positive experience being part of the LGBTQ plus family. And more and more, it's over a period of time. Maybe New York City thinks that they're the lead, but New Jersey and the different pockets around New Jersey are close seconds to the openness, the acceptability, the outreach, and also the, how would you say it, the people bringing you in.
Yes.
Whether it's different types of churches, houses of worship, school education.
Yeah.
It's a welcoming community here.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. It's a welcoming community.
Yes, yes. And I did a little research, and there seems to be over 20 different organizations here in New Jersey. I started to write some of them down, but the list was so long, and it just goes on and on because some of the universities and the community colleges, like Hudson Community College has an association. Excuse me. There's just a lot. Let me see. I wrote down state. Morris County has one. Garden State, Monmouth, just to name a few, who have these organizations to help people, which is so, so important, because there are a lot of younger people and older also who are decided to come out these days because they feel a little bit more welcome. When we were younger, it wasn't about coming out. You just didn't do that because either your family put you out of the house, put people out of the house, and I'm sure they're still doing it. It just wasn't accepted. We were not accepted. And I remember years ago, I went to George Washington High School, and this girl said, Renee, could you act like you're my boyfriend? So I said, okay. She knew I was gay. And this guy comes, study hall, and the guy comes down the aisle. And I'm sitting there, he looks down, he says, are you gay? And I looked up and I said, no. But it was the first time I heard the word gay. I knew that I was gay, but I didn't know how it was classified.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a universal feeling when you are when you are first sort of sorting out your feelings, you don't know necessarily, particularly if you don't have any direct role models, you don't know how to sort out those feelings. And so, and particularly back when, when we were younger, if we didn't have any direct role models, and chances are we didn't,
Mhm.
we didn't have a label for that. We were, I grew up in a very conservative Catholic family, and I didn't have any role models, and I knew, based on my upbringing, that it was not, it was a taboo subject to bring up, and even in high school it was just not an accepted thing. Nowadays, we live in a much more permissive society, a much more
Mhm.
welcoming society, a much more forgiving society in
Mhm.
certain respects,
Mhm.
particularly when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community. There's obviously still an enormous amount of work to do,
Yeah.
but I feel like, if you're a young person today and you are coming out, you're coming out at a much earlier age
Then
than
we
we
did.
did. I mean, it
Yeah.
certainly took me a long time to come out of the closet
Yeah.
because of all of those societal pressures and norms that we try and fit into
Yeah.
as we're growing up.
And we were looked down on. And I remember when I was small, and if there was a gay person in the street, what would they call? Faggots. That's when I
Yeah.
was growing up. There was no such thing. Oh, he or she is gay. That was the word that was used, and it shunned us. It made us go in the closet and make believe you have a girlfriend, or
Yeah.
make believe you have a boyfriend.
It was hurtful.
Yeah.
It's a hurtful name.
Mhm.
It is. It is. But I sort of tried to overcome it because I looked it up in the dictionary and it said a bunch of sticks.
A bunch of sticks, that's right.
Or a cigarette if you're British.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how I overcome that word. And like I said, it was really, really bad. It was hurtful. Um, Gail, going back to you and Audrey, I'll be right with you. When you was growing up, did you have to go through any of these things that we're talking about now?
Well, I think similar to what Anthony was saying is that it was trying to find your community, to find out, at a young age, 12, 15, 21, you're still trying to find out who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether there's a label for it or not, your emotions are all twisted up. You like this one, you love that one. Why do I like this one?
Yeah.
It's a lot to kind of sift through. And again, like Anthony said, if you don't have a role model, it doesn't have to be a personal one, but even seeing something positive on a TV screen or in the movies,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
didn't have much. I recall when Billie Jean King, the tennis player,
Right.
when she was
Yeah.
playing Bobby Riggs, she was still married to Billie Jean King, to Larry King or John King, whatever her husband's name was.
Mhm.
But she wasn't out. She started out as a married woman, but she still had
Yeah.
the intensity and the drive that she wanted to beat this man who was years older than her because he was
Mhm.
bad mouthing her sport, and in particular women playing the sport.
Yeah.
So there weren't a lot of role models out there, but I do remember when I finally got a chance to meet her on her 25th anniversary of beating Mr. Briggs. I just told her, when I watched that, I was probably 9 years old, but I totally understood a lot more of who I was because again, there was somebody on TV who kind of paralleled the stories. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
coming up now, as he said, the children are much younger, young people are much younger who are identifying. I mean, there are kids in grade school who know that they're in the wrong body, that they
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
to be a boy. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
girl. I want to dress like this. And
Yeah.
don't call me Jane. My name is Jeremy. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've seen, sorry to interrupt, I've seen on television, not necessarily a movie, but maybe a little story about there's a little boy who's growing up and he feels like he's a woman and the mother dresses him as a little girl. Between you, Gail, and Audrey and Anthony, what are your takes on that? Should the mother take a 8-year-old child, whether boy or girl, and dress them in the opposite sex clothing, knowing that he's going to be ridiculed at school as he grows up? What do you think? What are your takes on that?
I think I'm glad that the mother realizes that that her child is identifying something.
Mhm.
It may not stick for life, but the boy says, I want to wear this.
Yeah,
I want to wear a tutu.
yeah,
So you might have the discussion of how it's going to land, but if that's what he feels comfortable with,
yeah,
you do the best that you can. And
Yeah.
yes, you protect your children. And you'd be surprised, a lot of times children their own age are very forgiving. They don't have a problem with it. A
no,
6, a
Yeah.
7, a 9-year-old doesn't have all of this in their head yet. You
No.
don't get that until you're a teenager, and an adult, you get all of those questions up in your head. Right now,
Yeah.
as an 8-year-old, I want to wear a tutu, or I
Yeah.
want to wear overalls,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And just let them, they're finding themselves.
yeah, yeah. And your take on it, Audrey?
Well, I have a friend, Jody Patterson, who has a little boy who is a little girl.
Oh,
And she's written a book about it. I'm waiting to read the book myself, and I've known Jody my entire life. She has 5 children, and one of her children is a little girl. And I'm sure it's going fine. He must be, or she must be, excuse me, she must be 8 or 9 or 10, maybe more. I'm not sure, because I've always known Jody. So
Mhm.
if the child can handle it, handle it.
Yeah,
If they can handle it, you never know how young people are going to be with you in school. But as far as I was concerned, I didn't fall in love with a woman until I was 61 years old.
I remember you mentioning that. Ta-da!
Gail. And it was interesting because all my life I had been married once and always boyfriends. And then all of a sudden I meet this woman and I fell in love. And as soon as I knew that I liked her right away, there was something about her. And I told all of my friends, they couldn't believe it. Some people said, oh, are you going through something? Oh, this is
Yeah,
just
little
a
thing.
thing. This is just a flirt. And now they're all jealous of me.
But did
And
you
we've been married almost 10 years now.
right? And did you feel previous? Yes. Did you feel previous to meeting Gail that it was already in you? Did you have an attraction for women?
I don't think I had attraction for women. I work with so many women, I'm in the fashion business.
Right.
And I never looked at women to say, oh, I like them. I would like to, be intimate with them or kiss them or no,
Uh-huh.
not really. I mean, I just would tell them how pretty they were, but I never had a feeling like
That was part of your job too, because
Yeah,
you're
that
in
was my
fashion,
job.
you're looking at
Yeah,
them there.
yeah.
nude always. They were always
But
getting
they
out of
also
clothes.
had clothes on, and
Yeah.
you also said how pretty they looked
Yeah.
once they were dressed.
Yeah.
Oh, when they were
Fashion.
dressed, I never told them how pretty they were when they were nude. No,
Yeah,
we
yeah, that's
were
what-
moving.
Oh, yeah. But in the meantime, you was like this.
No,
No,
no.
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah.
no.
You know,
And
I was
what
joking.
was funny because I had been with a psychiatrist for 11 years.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and then I met Gail in February, and we had our first date in May of 1999. And then I called my shrink and I said, you got to tell me what's going on. I fell in love with a woman, and then what do you think of that? You know what he said?
What?
Audrey, you're on your journey.
Oh.
That's all he said. I
Yeah.
said, you must have known something. I told you everything. He says, no, you didn't mention that, but you're on your journey. And that's it. I left it alone.
It was.
I said, tell him everything.
It was meant
I
to
said,
be.
tell him all of my dreams. I still have
Oh.
all those books. Oh my gosh.
Wow. And Anthony, what about you? How was it for you?
So, I mean, just to get back to your original question about the child. I mean, I agree with
Right.
Gail. You let your child express their feelings, and you have a conversation with them, and you support them, and you do what you have to do to support them, and it's going to be difficult. There are going to be times where it's tough,
Mhm.
but kids nowadays, they face so many different obstacles in their young lives, and whether it's realizing they're gay, transgender, or whatever it is that they realize they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to reconcile with the rest of society, and it's really important that you're, as a parent, that you listen. Look,
Mhm.
I'm not a parent,
Right.
and so I can't speak from an area of expertise, but certainly it just seems very logical to me that you would listen to your kid and
Sure.
react and support. And certainly that's what I would do. I mean, for me personally, my journey, compared to the average guy or
Mhm.
the average boy, nowadays, I came out late in life. I came
Oh,
out in my I came out in my late 20s. Most
okay.
kids nowadays come out, when
There you
they're
go.
15, 14, 15,
Yeah.
16. As soon as they hit maturity, they're like, I know what I am, I'm
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
But for me, it was not like that, because I did not, there were, as I mentioned before, and I hate to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but I had no role models. There was certainly nobody in my family who was gay, or certainly identified as gay. So there was nobody to latch on to there. There
Right.
was no there, in the media at that time, there's no representation for us in the media.
Mhm.
So growing up in a conservative Catholic family, there was no outlet for me.
Yeah.
And so it was safer for me to be, even though I knew at a fairly early age, I would say, certainly in my mid to late teens, that I was different, that I did not, that I did not conform to, uh, you know, uh, from a sexuality standpoint, I didn't conform to the norms.
Yeah.
I was not into girls. I found other boys attractive, but I would never say that. I would never voice it. I would never think it.
Yeah.
I kept it buried deep down inside me, and it caused a lot of,
Problems, heartaches.
yeah, I was a lonely kid
Mhm.
when it came right down to it. I mean, I had lots of friends, but there was no way to act on those feelings, because my dread, because I come from a very tight family. My dread was that, so I come out of the closet, I say I'm gay, I have no family, I have no friends, I
Yeah.
have nobody.
Yeah.
And I'm a social person, so the idea that I would alienate all of those people was my biggest fear. And of course, as we know, now that we're all out of the closet and we're all fairly well-adjusted
Adults. Yeah.
homosexual adults,
Mhm.
that, for the most part, that doesn't happen. It's A lot of it is in our heads.
Mhm.
And that, but that's not an absolute. There are situations where kids are rightfully afraid to come out of the closet because they're, as you said, Renee, they'd be put out of the house. So there's always that specter of dread that goes through the
Yeah.
minds of an LGBTQ plus person when they are contemplating coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
But with all of that said, the best thing that I ever did in my life was come out of the closet.
I am out.
Best thing I ever did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to live your truth,
Yeah.
to live your life the way you were meant to live it. And
Yeah.
that is really the bottom line,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's very true. And I knew when I was young what was going on because I was the oldest in the family. I still am. And I had brothers and sisters, and we would play house. Well, guess who was the mother? I do. We went to Catholic school. Guess who was the nun? With the thing on the head, dressed up in a yardstick, and and da 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 da. I was it. Playhouse. Who was me? I always knew, and I always had an attraction as I grew older. But I had other things that I was interested in, and that was in music, because I used to sing. I did modern dance in high school. Who was the head of the modern dance club? Me. So all of it was in me, but I had other ways of showing it, because I had a family member who was totally against it, did not like the idea, but I sort of ignored it and just moved on with my life. And then as time went on,
That's what you do.
yeah, I was allowed
Yes,
to express.
you don't have a choice. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And Renee, to go back to your original question, I just jotted down a parent having, their child wants to be this way. I think of the NBA basketball player, Dwayne Wade, out of the Miami Heat. And Dwayne has 3 sons, or had 3 sons at the time, but one of his sons said that he was a she. And the pain, not the pain, Dwayne had to come to terms with it. And being a big guy, you're 6'5", 6'6", macho, you're MVP of the league, the
Right.
championship.
He has an image to
It was
uphold.
all about Dwayne, and it was not about his son, now daughter. He's married to Gabrielle Union, the actress, and then now they have a 4th child, a little girl. But Dwayne is the father is the one that had to come to the terms with my son wanting to dress like this.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even in a position to say, well, what's going to happen to you when you go to school? When you're 10 and you're dressing like, because he was dealing with it from him.
Yes.
Not from his son, who is
And
now.
what about Magic Johnson?
Yeah, right. His son is also.
Yeah, I used to watch the show. I think it maybe last 2 seasons. But to think of him, and he's very tall. So when
EJ, you're talking about EJ.
EJ, yeah.
EJ is 6'8".
Yeah. And then when I saw the show and I said, wait a minute, and he was standing next to people, I said, how did he feel being out of the closet and like to dress, but being so tall? I mean, did it have an impact on him? Did it bother him? Because sometimes we look at our outside as being accepted, especially in the gay community, the way you dress, how you eat, how you hold your glass. I mean, all of those things are some of the characters of it. But in the meantime, I'm here today. You know what I mean? And I'm happily married 6 years now, and I'm happy. I'm able to express myself, and I think that's the most important thing, as well as knowing you, all of you, and all the rest. What's that song Sylvester sang? You Are My Friend.
Oh, okay. He sang a lot.
Yeah, but especially that one, You Are My Friend. And that's what I gave a dinner party, and when everybody was starting to eat, I played that song in the background as to tell them, you are my friend. And I had a couple of tears, but I got over it. So pulling that all together brings us to the Devotion Project. Is our tribute to Jersey City Pride. We're in the Heights, so we're going to call this the Heights Pride. What part of Jersey are you considered? What part is that? Where you live?
07305.
Not the zip. This is Hudson County. Are you part of Hudson County? What county?
Yes, we're in Jersey City.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hudson County.
Yes, we're in
Okay,
Hudson
I wasn't
County.
sure. I'm just asking. Because that you have Secaucus, you have this, you have this.
No, we're in Hudson County.
Jersey City,
Okay,
Hudson
okay,
County.
great. So, like I was saying, our celebration today for Pride, which has been going the whole month for Jersey, and for those who are going to watch this later on, Gail is an Olympian basketball silver medalist. Did I say it right, Gail?
Yes,
Silver medalist. You got medalist. I thought you said mentalist.
Mentalist. She's a silver mentalist.
medalist, medal,
Medalist.
medal.
Look at her face. She's like,
Gail, I'm sorry, I'll blame it on the wine. Okay. Medalist, an Olympian champion, and I really respect her for it because she has set the path for others who are coming along today, young girls today. She has really set it for them, and it's a pleasure to have met her. And for Audrey is worked for, she was a commentator, am I correct?
Yes,
Ebony Fashion Fair.
ooh,
Yes.
wow.
Audrey, when they had the fashion shows, Audrey would be the person at the podium, correct?
Nice.
no, I didn't sit, I was not at a podium, I was sitting in a director's chair with my legs crossed, just talking.
Okay, that's
I
even
didn't read
better.
the script, I just talked.
Nice.
I did just the talking,
Yeah,
She knows how
yeah,
and I would say fun things about everything. I had
Yeah,
things
yeah.
to say.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, especially so and
That was
so.
50 years ago.
Wow, wow. And she's
Mm.
still in the business today, as well
Right.
as Gail is teaching. You're teaching, correct, Gail?
No, I'm on staff at New Jersey City University here in Hudson County.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
Nice.
doing some teaching. Oh, well, these two women are part of my life and Laurel's life, and I'm so happy to have met them at a friend's house, at Kervin's house. And I mentioned this before when they came in and I saw them, I said, there's something about these two women in here. You put my finger on it. And then one day, Gail explained who she was. Remember, Gail? I said, I knew it was something about you. I knew it, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. Well, both of them you've been married now 10 years, you said?
Almost November the 11th, 10 years.
10
In 2 months.
years.
A day before my birthday.
Oh, how
Awesome.
Wow.
We got married 11/11/11.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
That's awesome.
11/11/11.
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, now that we're talking about it, play those numbers tomorrow. I believe in that stuff, even though they don't come out, I still do it. Which is fantastic. You know, I give you two so much respect for this. And being what they have done over the past years, and an example that they are setting for young women today, whether they are gay or straight, is phenomenal. Director Anthony, what's the last name again?
Also,
Also worked on a project which I'm going to let both of you explain. And at the end of the day, it was called the Devotion Project, which we want to take a look at in a few minutes. Gail and Audrey, would you explain and talk to us what the Devotion Project is about?
Sure. Our director, we just call him our director, Tony Osso, O-S-S-O.
Yeah.
He had a vision, and he put this vision together as a gay man, and also doing his movies and documentaries. He wanted a better image of the LGBTQIA community. You may remember Tyler Clementi from New Jersey.
Oh, yes.
He was a student at Rutgers University.
Right.
And unfortunately, he was a victim when his roommate at the university took a webcam without him knowing and without his permission
Outed him.
Yeah.
in his dorm room of
Right.
him kissing or being intimate with another man. Tyler was 18 years old. And if you know the way the story ends out, his roommate posted it on Twitter
Right.
along with another friend. And at 18, we were just talking about our identities. Long story is that Tyler, totally offended, he ended up taking his life by suicide by leaping off the George Washington Bridge.
Oh my God.
And so Tony Osso, having seen this, and there were a couple other nonprofits that started to pop up, because this is bullying. This is
Yes.
cyber bullying at the max. So Tony was just saying that he wanted a better image of LGBTQIA members. And then secondly, It Just Gets Better project started to emerge with helping young people, helping our youth to embrace, understand their identities, understand what they're going through, empower them. And
Yeah.
so the coupling of that, Tony started by doing different segments. Tyler passed away in 2010. His anniversary is coming up September 22nd, 2010. But Tony also put together one documentary followed by 5 others. It's a series of 6 of them. You need to watch them because they're all very
Different.
special and very different.
Yeah.
Audrey and I are the only African-American pair in there, but there's one couple who were in their 70s, late 70s, and they told their story of one being in World War II and being stationed and receiving letters. It couldn't be love letters from his partner because the mail might be read and
Red,
there was nobody that was out. There's another segment about another couple, 2 women who have adopted, oh no, excuse me, they gave birth to a little boy, and they just talk about the boy has certain challenges, and again, giving a positive image. There's also another segment by a well-known hair designer, and his life really, which was totally, he said he had the worst coming up because of his coming out as a gay man and just what he went through. So again, Tony also kept putting these segments together. There were 6 of them. Audrey and I did the final segment. Our segment is called Foremost on My Mind.
Yes, that's
the name of our segment, and we think it's the best, right?
It is the best.
It is. It is really good.
It's fun,
Lively.
and you're gonna think you know us. You're gonna say, oh yes, I know those 2.
Yeah.
So it came from, that was Tony's vision. And I got involved with the project because as a basketball player, Tony reached out to a woman who reached out to my college basketball coach. So I had this coach 40 years ago, and coach called me and said, Gail, I need for you to talk to this Oso, and he needs you for a movie. Okay, coach. It was just that simple. And then he interviewed the 2 of us, and you'll see us in Foremost on My Mind.
Okay, well, let's take a little break, and I am going to show this clip, this segment, which is really good, okay? Just bear with me a second, okay?
Here we go.
I noticed you like wife.
I love wife.
You like wife. Wife. I like wife as well, but I often say, this is my life partner. We got married 11/11/11.
I'll come right. I say, oh, did you meet my wife? I want you to meet my wife. That's the first. I want to introduce you to my wife.
Oh, we don't get any tickets today. I know New York will give you tickets.
No, you're not.
I hope not.
Great neighborhood. Okay, I don't know how to drive. I'm Miss Daisy.
You used to know how to drive this.
Oh, yes. I mean, if I'm forced to.
I, Gail Marquis, campus of Queens College, and I'm being inducted into the inaugural class, the first class of the Queens College athletic name. In the middle of going to college, I went there to play basketball, and I was lucky enough to play for our U.S. Olympic team. It was the first time they ever had women's basketball at the games. I also came home with a silver medal, which I did not plan.
Everybody loves Gail. If I go somewhere, well, where's Gail? So even the mayor, where's Gail? And when Gail is someplace, well, where's that crazy lady? I'm the crazy lady.
I grew up in Queens, came over to Queens, New York. There were 5 of us growing up, and I was a middle child. I always like to say confused.
We were 5. Yes, I told you, I had 2 older brothers. I was born in Harlem, so I'm a native Harlem person. I like to tell everybody that I was born, bred, toasted, buttered, jelly, jammed, and honeyed in Harlem. I was a model, and I modeled from 15 until I was about 26. I was a fashion commentator for Ebony Magazine, a fashion editor for Vogue.
Yes, honey.
And now I live on 55th Street, just off Fifth Avenue, and Donald Trump moved in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Work out of my home suite office. It's my small business called The Ground Crew, and we do fashion shows, fashion shoots, and fashion videos. And I've been in business for 35 years, dressing those models and getting them out there, ready to rock and roll down that runway.
Right.
I was a Pro Bowl player in America, in the south of France, later on commentating also for the WNBA. Then I decided let me go to Wall Street because it was very competitive. between Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan Chase personal banker, decided I liked it. This is where I'm going to stay.
Nice.
We keep two residences between New York and New Jersey. So it's nice to have two places to go.
And I love coming here. When I get here, I'm a whole nother person. I sleep much better when Gail is in the bed than I sleep when I'm by myself. I feel so secure.
And
It's
knowing that she's
delicious.
there.
No, we don't talk in the morning. Thank goodness.
Do not speak in the
She
morning.
told me she does not speak in the morning. Me, I can speak all day long. But when I'm here, I speak. Okay.
We met officially on February 7th, 1999. We didn't start dating. Our first date was May 1st, 1999.
Oh gosh. Prior to that, only men had been in my life. Most of the men that I went out with were fabulous men. This friend of mine said, Audrey, you know, you're doing really well, but you don't have a man in your life. And I said, well, I'm not looking for a man. So she said, well, if you're looking for somebody, what would you be looking for? Tell me about this man. Well, he'd have to be a BMW, a black man working.
No.
He'd have to be taller than me, smarter than me, younger than me. And
Oh, yes.
within 2 weeks, I met Gail. So she's my BWW.
Ah.
All right.
And I'm 75. She just twisted around. It was 17 and a half years. In the age.
Evidently, she enjoys it.
In the age.
The age difference hasn't proven to be too much of an inhibition outside of we're able to introduce each other. Maybe she wouldn't have come to a basketball game, or to some of the clubs I might have gone to. I primarily dated women, only women, and I found that I wasn't as confident in the areas I wanted. I wasn't sure if the women wanted me for me, or if they wanted the Olympian, or if they wanted the jump shot, the pro ball players. And I had to get up the gumption to speak to this one, to speak to Audrey.
I took a course called Landmark Education, and they asked me to come and do my little talk on how to look, feel like $1 million, and don't spend $1 million.
I had to pay $39 to go see her. So I put on my best suit. And then by the end of the afternoon, can we talk later on? And she was like, oh yeah, sure.
So during that week, she called me and she said, listen, I need to talk to you.
I need your undivided attention, sort of like stop, sit down, whatever you're doing. And I have something to tell you. What is it? I'm gay. I'm a lesbian. She's like, okay. I said, well, listen, I'd like to take you out on a date.
So I said, well, what is a date? I said, a date to me is that you're going to pay for everything. You're going to pick me up, pay for the date, and then bring me home. She said, yes. I said, oh, that's great. So then I said, kiss me goodnight. I don't know why or what possessed me to say, are you going to kiss me goodnight? And then she said, well, I wanted to kiss you hello, but your place had so many people. There was so much confusion.
Well, I didn't say all of that. I just said, but I really wanted to kiss you hello. So I kissed her good night.
I said, wow, I felt different. I said, oh my God, what is that about? Oh, wow.
I looked to make sure that she got through the lobby, and then she went into her elevator, and then I pulled down the visor in my car to look at the mirror and just check my lipstick. It was on my lipstick, and that it was really real.
But I called my shrink, and he told me, Audrey, you're on your journey. Can you imagine? I said, but I told you everything. My entire life must be somewhere in there that I liked women. No.
She was just so comfortable with it. And it was just flowing off of her lips that I'm in love with a woman. I'm in love with her. So I couldn't be hidden. I couldn't be played small.
Yeah.
She just made me much more comfortable. And that whole year, Audrey kept a calendar at her penthouse, just outside of her apartment door, a calendar 365 days. And she would check off when she saw Gail, basically, or when she spoke to Gail. And that was May 1st, all the way through December 31st. I was on the whole calendar every single day.
That's sweet.
I'm foremost in her mind. I'm first. She says, I'm first. Can you imagine?
Aren't I first in your mind?
Yes.
We got married after 12 years.
12 and a half
When the
years.
time came up,
November's 11, May is 5, 7 years, 12 and a half years. The day was perfect. When you finally got out of the car and you came across Central Park West, oh my God, she's so gorgeous in that yellow jacket. Oh my God, you look fabulous.
Lord, to cover my neck. We had a good time.
You had this beautiful scarf. I remember the scarf.
I just said foulard. That's right. That's French for
Oh,
scarf.
I know.
I know French for scarf. We have come together here in this place to witness and bless the joining of Audrey and Gail. Today you know for each other that you are an awesome surprise.
Oh,
Wow.
that's sweet. That's beautiful.
We're going to be an old boring couple already.
No, we're not boring. The one thing we are not.
What does our life look like for the next 20 years?
Well, I'm going to work with the ground crew as long as I can work. I want to paint, and we're going to travel.
Beyond that, we're going to look for good health.
We want to continue with our good health.
Oh, who's that?
Too fast. Not
Yeah.
We help each other. We boost each other.
Yeah, we're leaning on each other. We're committed wife and wife. We're committed life partners. We're committed to each other. Right?
You said it. I can't say it any better than that.
Right now, we're coming up on our first
Anniversary. First anniversary.
paper, yeah.
So you can give me cash if you like. That could be nice too. A magazine or a book.
I think I will. I think I will.
It's paper.
And beyond that,
Cash would be so nice.
13.
That was beautiful. That
That was
beautiful.
fabulous.
There we go.
Wow. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
beautiful, guys.
I'm glad you
That was
enjoyed it.
really touching. Wow.
Yeah.
And
I'm
please
lost for
feel
words.
free to go back and look at the other episodes. There are 5 others. Ours was his
very
last
nice.
one.
Yes.
And Audrey will tell you how many hits we get on YouTube.
All right.
I am lost for words, and you know I can talk.
We have millions. We have millions of hits. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
People know us.
Yes.
Good.
We've been stopped in the street many times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Gail, if you're by yourself, they're gonna say, "Where's Audrey?"
Right?
And
Where's the crazy lady?
That's right.
She's coming out the store. There she is.
Yeah, they won't talk to her. Sometimes we have even
Oh, my
had
goodness.
some of the gay boys, the gay men, they'll come up to us and they just look at us and then they almost want to cry. And I tell them, don't you start crying. Don't you start crying. It's your story, your story. I know. Talk to us, you know?
Yeah.
oh, wow.
That was really, really, really beautiful.
Yes.
I'm
Beautifully
so
done.
proud of you.
Really,
Thank
really
you.
Tony
beautifully
did a
done.
Tony
fabulous.
did a great job.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Tony
he did.
Oso,
And
OSSO.
like I mentioned, I interviewed Tony. For those who do not know who Tony is the director and producer of the Devotion Project.
Mhm.
And I was going to show it today, but his interview is like a half an hour long. But it will be on In the Kitchen on the next episode because we're just coming out
Nice.
of the neighbors,
Okay.
and it'll be there as well as today's show will be also on ChefReneeJewitt.com. Well, I want to thank everybody. Anthony, thank you for the lesson. You inspired me to go out and buy some tomatoes.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
My
They're
pleasure.
delicious.
Jackie, thank you for showing up. I'll see you after school because you're on punishment.
I know.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Sorry.
And of course, Gail and Audrey, thank you deep inside of my heart.
What a lovely story.
Yes,
Terrific.
Being here
Thank
today,
you.
I really, really, really appreciate it so much. I was trying not to cry.
But I tell you, the gay boys just run up and they just want to cry. They can't even talk.
Yeah, but
But it's
it's
wonderful.
such a beautiful story. That's the
It
whole,
is.
and you captured all of it.
And we're very proud of the work that Tony did. And we were recognized the following year by Out Magazine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The three of us, and there was another gentleman who did another piece on something totally different. But Tony Oso was so proud of being recognized as one of the top 100
Right.
in all different
Yeah.
fields.
That's
In all different fields. All
Yeah,
different
that is
LGBT
wonderful.
Really
Wonderful.
pleased.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
We went
yes.
to Montreal or
Yeah,
Toronto.
we've done a few festivals
Yeah.
around this.
Ooh.
Tony is one. It's been translated in about 25 different languages.
Mhm.
Wow.
We've won numerous, on top of numerous awards.
Nice.
We were invited to Montreal, Canada for a film festival.
Oh,
LGBT
nice.
film
Wow.
festival.
That's
And so
awesome.
we were happy to be able to be there, present, and do the Q&A and just really
Yeah.
enjoy ourselves. Very
Nice.
nice.
That was
Wow.
Superstars. All right.
Well, I would like to end this by saying, Anthony, what would you like to leave us? You know, this is my tradition, your closing words.
I would just like to close saying how inspired I was seeing that video clip. I was really touched. I thought it was a fantastic story. I mean, yours is a fantastic story, but it was great that Tony was able to produce it in such a way that made it accessible to so many people. That is what we need to see more of in our community. That's what we need to see more of. It was just beautiful, touching, and all the best to you both.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And Jackie,
You're welcome.
what would you like to say?
I thought that was a beautiful video. I just pray that one day that all videos that showcase love, whether it's women with women, men with men, black, white, whatever, as long as it's positive, it's showing positivity and everyone can relate to it. I just hope that one day that'll happen, because it really shouldn't be separate. Love is love. That's how I see it. I've always seen it since I was a kid. So hopefully one day that'll happen. But I thought the video was absolutely beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Well,
And I didn't do the ugly cry.
keep speaking those words. Speak truth to power, right? Love
Yes.
is love is
Yes.
love.
Yes.
That's right.
Love
That's
is love
right.
is love.
And,
Keep putting
That's
it out
right.
there in the universe.
That's
and
right.
Audrey, what would you like your closing words?
My closing words is that I love everyone and we should love people no matter how they look, how they act, what their religion, whatever. You either like them or you don't. And I just happen to love everybody.
So how do you sign your cards, your reading cards?
I sign my greeting cards always. God is love. And that comes
Amen.
from 1 John chapter 4, verse 8.
Amen.
God is love.
Amen.
Audrey.
And Gail, your closing words today?
Well, I'm the chatty one. I think I've said all I had to say, but similar to the way the guy from Hamilton said it, Lin-Manuel, love is love is love. And if anything, my only crime is love. My only crime is loving someone.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to say
Love it.
once again, thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Renee!
You're welcome.
Don't
Go get the,
Hey, don't do that.
Renee, go
Have
get
a
the
drink.
makeup
Grab
guy.
something to sip. Sip on
Oh, that's sweet.
Aw.
Renee.
Thank you.
something. You're welcome.
Oh.
Tell them you're welcome. We love you,
We
Renee.
love you, Renee.
Yes.
Chef Renee.
Thank you. Renee, thank you for putting this together.
Please. Oh my goodness, thank you. Today was a beautiful day and I really, really appreciate and love you all. And thank
Love you
very
too.
much.
Thank you.
Love you too.
Love you
And
too.
great meeting
my-
you, Jackie
my
and
last
Anthony.
word
I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can't wait to meet you in
My
person.
last words for today is love is the message.
Amen.
Love
Amen.
is the
Thank you
message.
A woman.
LITM.
Okay.
Hey, what? I heard that. All right, girl. That's right.
A woman.
Okay. Speak to you soon,
Bye
everybody.
all. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, guys.